Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
In a world littered with bots, liars, and propagandists, the truth can be elusive, and that is why you should always trust your eyes, especially when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. And we all watched a team that didn't even try to compete on a Sunday against the Giannis-less Bucks, a team that played a very unappealing style of basketball while turning the ball over a ton, a team that was dustpanned, swept in the first round of the playoffs, where their big three had a minus 51 rating while sharing the court together against the Timberwolves. And then we read about the time Frank Vogel was screaming at the top of his lungs inside the locker room while his players were effectively rolling their eyes. So forgive me if I don't think the Suns are in a great position or that everyone involved with the Suns did a great job. And if the answer is firing the head coach, why hasn't it happened already? I worry that answer is because the Suns might not be able to run it back even if they want to, that maybe one or more of their stars is giving off those wrong vibes, the kind that say, trade me, please. Instead, we heard James Jones say what a great job Frank Vogel did under trying circumstances, that he simply didn't have enough time to get this team right. That is patently absurd. They had plenty of time. They had plenty of offensive talent, but the mix was all wrong. We all saw it, we all felt it, and the proof is right there on the floor at Footprint Center, where the lockers are empty and the arena went dark before the end of April. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
We're going to try to compete at the highest level, and guess what? When you set high expectations, you don't always hit them. Now, with that being said, as the owner, there's accountability, right? There's accountability for everybody. I can take the accountability. We're going to celebrate when we win the championship, and we'll have a lot of fun with that. And when we don't win it, you guys can say, hey, Matt, you didn't do this right, or hey, James, you didn't do this right, or Frank, or the players. Like, we get it. That's your job, and we understand that part of the game. But, you know, it's our job to make sure we set the record straight and make sure you guys all know where we stand and how we think about it. And we are very disappointed that we didn't win a championship. And we'll say that again next year or the year after when we don't. And that's how we're always going to be here in Phoenix. And so hopefully you enjoy that and are proud of that, because I think in the last 15 years, I think the Phoenix Suns won 49 games. This is the third time, right? So like in 15 years, so putting perspective in place. But, you know, it feels like we won 12 games the way people are acting.
Well, and it should. It should feel like you won 12 games.
That's such a deceptive stat, too. Yeah. Third time in the last 15 years. How about in the last 4 years? Yeah. In the last 4 years, it's a different generation and era of Suns basketball.
Third time they've won 49 in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's why so much of this was tone deaf, and I think as I said in a tweet, their messaging just felt like a hot mess to me. It felt like they were trying to say 100 different things at once. It felt like they were working too hard to make you understand, hey, we did a good job here. Leave us alone. And again, optics matter. The vibe matters. How you make your fan base feel matters. I don't understand, why was there a need to put Mat Ishbia in front of the media when he can't give any clarity? Because you get into these weird situations where he says, I have not talked to anybody. I haven't talked to my head coach about his job. I haven't talked to my GM about his job. I haven't talked to any of the players. That's what I'm here for this week. But his GM took the dais right after him to give a press conference.
I mean, on the surface, I thought that was a little strange. Why was there separate sessions? We've seen plenty of press conferences and a number of different sports and settings where you got more than one personnel member up there answering questions. And I think that would have gone a long way to presenting a unified front.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yes. And so, look, obviously they've got to get some things fixed here. But to me, I just don't understand why, if the issue is Frank Vogel, and if Frank Vogel gets fired, that's what they're going to say. Wrong voice for this team. And I think we can all kind of get on board with that, right? If they run it back with the big three, I think it's obvious to everybody there's got to be a new leader here. The disrespect is way beyond the pale. And I could sit here and name you 10 different examples of things that show how toxic that whole thing became. So why hasn't that happened yet? Because I think if you want to make people believe that the big three, that the issue isn't this roster that we constructed, it's the leader, it's the system, well, why don't you make that move right away? And then you could have addressed that yesterday and then moved on. And my fear is they don't know what their players think. That's my fear. And again, I'm not reporting it. I'm afraid of it.
Yeah, sometimes you get a gut feeling.
Yeah. And again, we saw how detached Devin Booker was all season long. And KD, you don't know. You don't know what he's ever chasing. And so to me, and if the reports of KD being unhappy in this offense are accurate, look, something's got to give here. These stories that have come out after the season, these should be treated with a little bit of severity here. So I hope they got a way out of this. I really do.
Yeah, here's another James Jones soundbite from yesterday that's making the rounds nationally, and it's about Kevin Durant and maximizing Kevin Durant.
I'll tell you, that's a constant focus for us, is to continue to figure out how to maximize Kevin Durant. No one's done it yet. I believe we'll be the first team to do it because if we can maximize him, we can maximize our entire roster. We're a better team. But that's not an issue. I think Kevin had a phenomenal season this year offensively. I think there's a stretch. He had some of the best stretches of his career this year. So it wasn't an offensive thing. It wasn't just a utilization or a usage thing. It was just the totality of figuring out when and where and how to do it together. We just could not get on the same page. We ran out of time.
What is your reaction, Bick, to the, what's being offered by James Jones is nobody has maximized Kevin Durant yet?
First of all, I don't understand it. First of all, KD's how old now?
He's going to be 36.
MVP, NBA champion,
two-time NBA Finals
MVP. Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't understand.
3 or 4-time scoring champion.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're trying to get across with that, because it comes across like, okay, we're smarter than everybody. We'll finally unlock this mystery.
If what James Jones said is true, though, nobody's maximized Kevin Durant. That's a Kevin Durant issue.
Well, right, exactly. And so then is that James Jones's way of saying KD needs to buy in fully? I suppose you could kind of see the corollary that to max out KD on this team, he's got to be fully engaged at all times. I don't know, man. I don't know. It was just a very weird scene yesterday.
Yeah, we were wondering what the tone was going to be going into it. The tone we got was unexpected to me, anyway.
Yeah, same.
It was same. Don't
to
worry,
everybody.
Everything's okay. It's
everything's
like the scene, like the last scene in Animal House at the homecoming parade, where everything is going haywire, and a young Kevin Bacon is just yelling, "All is well!"
All is
there's
well.
chaos all around him.
That's right.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Murata. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.